Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kam Johal Show. So it's been a fine day here in West Bromwich today. And my guests today are dear friends of mine, and they've got a very, very interesting story to share. So usually I'm accompanied by one guest, but we're lucky today, so we have two of them. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Umesh and Dee.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, it's lovely to be here, thank you.
Good, good. So you travelled from my hometown of Leicester?
Yes, indeed.
Good, good. So listen, we'll kick off right from the start. So you're Leicester, both of you?
Yes.
So born and bred, or did you come from Africa?
No, I came from Kenya, Eldoret.
Okay.
And I came from Mombasa in Kenya, so...
Okay. So how old were you when you came?
I was probably about 3 or 4 years old. Came in 1964, I think, somewhere around there. And basically it was a situation where my parents sort of forced into a situation of the African people looking at non-dual ownership, citizenship.
Yes.
So it was a situation where whether you had to be South African citizen or UK citizen, Mum and Dad decided to be UK citizen. So initially we decided to move, Mum and Dad decided to move to India to live there.
And tell me something, because you know we're talking about the Gujarati community now for those of us viewers that don't know. So we've obviously lived side by side for many years.
Yes.
And had the whole influx since around about 72. But so what actually happened was in Africa you were given, if you were part of the Commonwealth, choice of whether you wanted to be an Indian citizen or British, right?
African or British. Yeah.
African or British.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, but a lot of the Gujarati community, particularly, went back to India for a while, didn't they? And then they came to the UK.
Exactly. Yes.
Why was that?
I think it was the law of motherland.
Okay.
And we'd got family there as well at the time. And what my dad and mum decided that we'll settle in Gujarat, in Surat, most likely I think it was.
Yeah.
But basically decided to do Jatra, because once you settle, you'll never get a chance to go around the country.
Okay.
So we did a whole year of Jatra. But through that Jatra, I got typhoid and my mum got typhoid, and my dad says, right, we're out of it.
So you had the real India then?
Yes, definitely. So my dad sent us back to Eldoret to my grandparents.
Yeah.
And then he came to this country, worked so hard to set up a bit of money, live in a one-bed-sit place, and bring us here. And initially we started in Cricklewood on Chandas Road, I believe it was, on a one-bed-sit, where all three of us slept in one room, kitchen was in one room, living, everything is one room, that was it. And that's how we started initially. And he basically bought a house, to cut a long story short, I bought a house in London in Neasden, a semi-detached property in a very nice area at the time. And then, you know, decided, right, we've got family in Leicester and they've got businesses that opportunities that were given to us. So we thought, right, we'll up sticks in from London and move to Leicester. Fabulous. So that's the reason why we're in Leicester now.
Yeah. What was your journey like, Dee?
I was quite young when we came over. I don't remember too much, just vague little stories. And my granddad gave me a little centi when we came across as good luck, and we used to have long lunches on the beach because my dad used to have a long lunch hour. And then we lived in London for about 1.5 years, and then I've been in Leicester ever since.
Fantastic.
Educated, everything in Leicester. So.
Yes. Okay, so tell me, what was life like in Leicester? Because you must have lived through the riots, and we had riots in Birmingham and in Southall, so we had those race riots going on, didn't we? And I remember, you know, especially during on the Golden Mile, all the shops were boarded up at one point, weren't they? What was that like, living through that?
I was very young, but I know my mum and dad used to tell me, you know, you just got to be careful where you go and how you do things, and you know, for me, I was just a little girl, but I do remember certain things. We'd go off on family trips to the seaside, and on one occasion we actually had members of the National Front actually rocking our car because my dad and my uncles had gone into the shop to get something for us to eat, and it was me, my mum and my aunties in the car, and they're actually rocking the car. And as a little girl, it's very, very frightening. Absolutely. It's stuck with me all these years, you know, and that racism, it's sort of, I fought it all my life, you know, there's no need for it, you know. We were part of the British
empire
anyway, so we're British anyway. Yes, my skin is this colour, but I'm proud to be that, you know. I'm
of course
very proud of who I am, and skin, race, anything should never ever come into it, doesn't matter where you are. But yeah, it's I do remember the Golden Mile as such being boarded up, and you know, we couldn't go out shopping for a few weeks because, you know, we just, my dad just didn't take the risk.
Yeah, we didn't know, did we?
No,
You
no.
know, I mean, we was kind of out, we always lived away from that area, so we weren't really aware.
I lived right in it.
But it was frightening, wasn't it, at that time?
We used to live on Belgrave Road.
Yeah.
And I used to go to school at John Kelly High School, which is round on Ross Walk, at the back of Ross Walk. And the riots were all over the place there. Every night, every evening after school, when the school breaks up, there was a fight from one side, which is all the white people, white boys and girls, and us Indians on the other side.
Yeah.
Every evening there was always something going to happen. You always knew that something was... And you had to watch yourself, because if you got caught on your own, 3 or 4, 5, 6 lads will beat the pulp out of you.
Yeah. And you know, obviously for youngsters that are watching, just wanted to really demonstrate to you what kind of life, you know, your parents or your grandparents, it doesn't really matter where they were, whether they were in Birmingham, in the Midlands, or down in London, or Leicester, or Manchester. You know, that's the life that they had. And as school kids, we were sometimes very, very frightened of our plight. As Umesh said, if you got caught in the wrong street with the wrong crowd on your own. So, you know, race relations and attitudes have changed somewhat, but you know, as we've seen, you know, during last summer with the Black Lives Matter, you know, things are not all that different in certain areas, right?
True, very true.
So do you find, I mean, you know, we'll come to your story, do you find racism now is different? Because I think it was easier to deal with when we were kids. If somebody hated you, they told you on your face.
Yeah.
Well, you have obscenities in your face, and you were told on your face. That's what, you know. That's what they thought of you. More so now, it's a situation and it's disguised. It's a situation where, you know, they discriminate, but they do it in a way that, you know, it's difficult to sort of recognise if you don't see the signs.
Yes.
Whereas in work situations, you might get somebody who's probably got less qualifications or is less experienced, or you're better than them, but they might still get the promotions and you won't.
Sure.
So those things still happen, and it's also in various types of work, whether it's corporate, whether it's civil, or whether it's through government, whatever type of job you got, there's still, you know, racism in that respect.
Yeah. Do you let it affect you? Have you, any of you, you know, let it affect you in any way, shape, or form?
No, because the simple way to get around it is just work better. If you can't like it or you can't stand it, get another job, get another position. You don't bang your head against something that's not going to help you. When there's a ceiling there, you know, you just have to move.
Yeah.
I think they also, some people, with me particularly, I like to work where I've got a good work ethic, and some people don't. And I'm not saying this is a race issue, but there are people, they think it's because I have been the colour that I am or who I am. I'm a loud, bolshy person anyway, and then when I'm this colour, it sort of puts me in the highlight of everybody. But I don't let it bother me, because, you know, I know at the end of the day I'm a good person, I work well, I do the right thing. So, you know, nothing else really matters to me. And touch wood, I've not really got into a lot of trouble with it because I don't let it, you know,
absolutely.
Because you have to be above that.
Yeah, I think we've cracked on, haven't we?
Yeah.
You know, and this is the message that I've had throughout the series of when we've been talking to people that came here when they were young, many, many years ago. And it's been that, you know, yes, it exists, but I don't care.
No.
Yeah.
Right? But do you think that is that we weren't allowed to be victims? That, you know, talking about your emotions is much easier today than it was 30 years ago.
Yes.
Especially for guys.
Definitely. You can't be out there crying on somebody's shoulder, because it's not the man thing to do.
Not only that, I think it's the Asian pride as well.
Absolutely.
You know, that you don't let anybody knock you down, you know. It's not us, a question of us being above them, it's a question of that, you know, we know better. We don't need to do those things to show that we're better. And I think that's what it comes across as.
Good.
And my dad has always says, you know, why do you want to make an issue of it? It's their issue, not yours. Just walk away from it. And it's like with bullies, you bully them back, they don't want to know, you know, and that's what it is. You just walk away from it, you know. I'm not a violent person in any way, shape or form anyway. My dad wasn't. No. I have hid his bruises quite well. But my dad wasn't, and he always says, you know, talking, if you talk to people, explain to people what it is, they know then, you know, a lot of it is because they don't know. Initially, when my mum and dad first came to the country, it was that.
Ignorance, isn't it?
It is,
yeah.
it is, yeah.
So I think, number one is, I think what we're talking about is resilience, isn't it?
It is.
Right? And so our generations had that in abundance, but we had to survive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, you know, the younger generations that may be watching, that will come home and talk about it, it's a good thing, especially for young men.
Yeah.
You know, that we're discussing these situations more, but there wasn't really any emotional support if you were the victim of anything really when we were growing up.
No.
But I think half that also has something to do with the fact that our own parents were newly arrived immigrants as well, weren't they? So they were finding their feet. The whole family was finding its feet, wasn't it?
It was hard for them, I think, because adjusting to what they've come from, and I think life here, because back home, wherever you came from, Kenya, Uganda or wherever, or even India, they had this community which they'd lost all of a sudden, so they've had to rebuild that community back up again. Unfortunately, they have, which has helped quite a lot, I think. You know, it doesn't matter which caste you are or where you came from, Indians tend to stick together because they need that home feeling, you know. But it's not just Indians, I think anybody, if you go to the Eastern Europeans, they'll have a little community.
Of course.
You know, whichever community you go to, it's that they need that feeling of home, and I think that's what helps people out. But then, you know, I like going into other communities because you learn.
Yes.
You know, I'd hate to think someone came to my house and I insulted them because I didn't know about their culture. So I think everybody's got to learn, and then that's how we can resolve all this horribleness of race.
It's understanding, isn't it?
It is.
You know, so if you take the time to find out somebody else's belief system, because there isn't a religion that says harm somebody else.
No.
No, there isn't.
Right, it's only people's interpretation, right?
It is.
So, and I hope that nobody's taught at home, you know, to harm.
I certainly hope so,
right?
Because I think that's wrong.
I was going to say, that's the other thing that I think that's wonderful about our community is family, isn't it? You were talking about your father saying, turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what a lot of us were taught. That, look, it will stop.
It will
stop.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Just crack on with whatever it is that you've got to do.
Yeah.
Don't let these people do this to you.
No.
And, you know, and I think that along with the resilience and the strength of our communities and our families has proven to be successful formula, because we are absolutely so successful as a collective of people, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we own beautiful businesses, beautiful lives.
Yeah.
Our kids are really educated, going in all the professions that you can imagine. Right? So, but it was the base that was built by our parents and us.
Yeah, but that took time. Initially, a lot of our communities didn't go to university because money wasn't there. They didn't know how. They were afraid of what people would say. And now it's better. Now, you know, the girls are going to university, and that's so wonderful. I think I haven't got girls, but I still appreciate the fact that any girl that goes out there and gets themselves an education and does well for themselves, they have to be applauded, because, you know, as a woman in any industry, it's hard. And I know because I've been there. Being a woman of my colour has been even harder. But if it wasn't for me being so bolshy, you know, I don't cower with anybody. You know, don't dare me, and because I will take that dare on, sort of thing.
So, I mean, we touched on, you know, women. So, as a man of colour, there's certain disadvantages,
Definitely.
and then you've got the added discrimination of being a woman, and then being a woman of colour it's harder.
It is.
Right? And so the other thing you talked about was, you know, girls going to university, and it's a shame that we still have that today, that it's special enough that we talk about it.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be at all, right? But it's still the case. And I obviously, you know, I've talked to a lot of people through what I do now.
Yeah.
And it is that in communities,
yeah.
you know, in our own communities, that people still are minded to think somehow that we can't let our girls out and get a university education.
Yes, exactly.
The fact is, 30 years ago, there was a lot of manual jobs, so you needed the physical strength of a man.
Yeah.
And that's why the men were breadwinners, a lot of ladies stayed at home at the time.
Yeah.
But with what's gone on over the last 25 years, I know a lot of girls that earn a lot more money than the boys do.
Exactly.
Right?
They're cleverer. I don't mind admitting it, but they are.
Having worked with you for a year, I know who's the clever one out of you two. Right?
You know it's me, don't you? Okay, fine, that's fine.
So look, wonderful life. 2 boys?
3 boys.
3 boys?
Yeah,
okay.
One's in China.
Yes, I always forget about him. Actually.
Yeah.
Everyone tends to do that.
So, wonderful life. So what's Leicester like today to live in, and what's family life, and what do the boys do, and what do they do?
Well, my oldest son, he's Ricky.
Yeah.
He's a lecturer in Leicester College. He teaches gas engineering.
Mm-hmm.
My second son, Ravi, he's with HSBC and he's banking, so he does his work there through that. And my youngest is another teacher, and he teaches Chinese children in China.
Yeah, what does he teach?
English and sports. So because he's got a sports degree, so he's teaching sports as well. But initially he went there because he knew English, and the Chinese people wanted English teachers. So
wonderful.
So he's loving it there. He's going third. He's going to sign up for the 3rd year now.
Right.
So we're telling him to come back, but he's not wanting to.
Have you been across?
Yes, we went 2019.
Okay.
First year he was gone,
year.
He went in
down
October,
there.
we went in February, and then last year, obviously, because of lockdown, we couldn't go.
Yes.
So hopefully he's coming over in the summer, so I'm so looking forward to that. And then hopefully we can go across next year, because I think he's going to be there for the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah,
he's got a mission to finish off with the group he's with. So yeah, I'm very proud of my boys. They've done well for themselves. My youngest is autistic, and he's, I say to people, he's gone away, he's got his degree all by himself. He's out travelling the world and he's loving it, so you shouldn't let anybody stop you from doing what you want to do.
If you put determination in there, if you've put your mind to it, anything is possible. My son's proved it. So it's
and
possible.
Also, I think in our communities, things like autism and things aren't talked about.
I was going to talk to you about that. So how did you find that? Because, it doesn't matter who you are. In our communities, any kind of disability is, like you said, it's not talked about, it's brushed under the carpet. And as if the person doesn't exist.
Yeah, particularly this kind of thing, because it's not a visible, you're not in a wheelchair, you're not on crutches, there's nothing to see as such, but yeah, I've known since he was about 4 or 5 years old, and it took me a long time to get him diagnosed. Again, because I'm a voluntary person, I stuck at it, and it wasn't until he was about 14, 15 he was diagnosed.
Yeah.
But I knew something wasn't quite right, and because
we had to actually, at school, we had to get special needs involved to get extra hours for him to help him with his education and everything. The thing is, we feel bad in one respect because we shouted the loudest, that's why we got it. And people that don't shout, or our community, some people haven't got English as a fluent language, and they're not able to sort of put their point across that this is what my needs are for my child. And they get left behind.
Yes.
Or they don't know that there's something wrong, that, it's that fear of what will people say. And it's your child at the end of the day, nothing comes above that.
You've got to fight for it.
But we're very subservient as a community, aren't we?
Exactly.
And, so, and for parents out there, if you feel something's wrong with your child, or your child feels something's wrong with them, get them checked out. The problem with the system is that they will tend to fob you off.
Yes, they will. They've tried to fob us off all the way.
Yeah.
It was a situation. No, you can't compare one child with another. There's nothing. They develop separately. We say, look, this son's all right. There's an issue with this one, and they says, no. It's just they're different. Look, I know it's different. They've got different natures and everything, but there is something still wrong. We had to fight.
Yeah, I was going to say, your child is different. Yeah. But you also know something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
But so, what would your advice be to other parents? Speak to our audience. What should they do? Because there's lots of people in those positions.
Basically, if that situation is, if they've got a social worker that's in in the situation. If you can't speak English or you're not fluent in English, get a family member or somebody that can speak, because youngsters nowadays know that they're fluent in English nowadays. So they can speak on your behalf. Tell them what you want to happen. Get them to talk to the social worker or the child, what was it?
Child psychologist.
Child psychologist.
Get the teachers involved, get the head teachers involved, get doctors involved, get health visitors involved. Do whatever it is you need to do, because there are a lot of children out there that need the help. It doesn't necessarily mean there's anything wrong as such, but please, please, please get the help for them, because there is so much help out there.
They fall through the cracks, and they potentially, if they got the help, they would be in a different league for their life and lifestyle that they have in the future. Look at my son. If we didn't do the help for him, he wouldn't be a teacher in India, in China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's incredible, and it shows what potential he actually had as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's, with autism, it doesn't mean that they're stupid or anything. They're clever, but they have certain niches that they're super clever in, and you know,
they have a different way of thinking.
Yes.
You have to, when you explain something to them, you have to use different words. You know, so what if I said something and I ramble it off to you, you'd go and do it.
Yes.
But with them, I need to be very specific. Not now, obviously, but when he was younger. And it's sort of built up, and at home there was no negativity. I was never ashamed of him being the way he was, and I think that's the biggest thing, is for parents not to ever feel ashamed, because...
It's your child.
How were your relatives and how was family and community though?
Initially it was difficult, and might be my fault because I sort of mollycoddled him a little bit, you know. Because
well, look, there's no book on parenting that works, is there? We're all feeling our way along, right?
Yeah. But then I thought, well, no, I can't keep him locked up. He needs to go out there and live life and experience life, and that's the only way I can teach him. So we started taking him out, and I just made sure that I let him play on his own, but I just listened out, make sure there's no negativity or anything like that, and it's worked out for him.
You've got to get him out as well, because at the end of the day, you're not going to be there. You know, one day you know your parents are going to be gone. Like my parents are gone. They're going to be gone. You're going to have to stand up on your own 2 feet. If you bring them up now and give them all the independence and the confidence in themselves, they'll have a better life.
Yeah. And I always told them, you know, doesn't matter that you've got this condition, you can still go out there and own the world. If you want to be a brain surgeon, you go out there and be a brain surgeon. If you want to be an astronaut, go and be an astronaut, you know. Einstein,
all these famous people, they had autism.
Yeah. It just wasn't diagnosed, was
No,
it?
exactly.
And so the advice that you seem to be offering, I think, is the fact that, you know, within your own family unit, acknowledge what's going on.
Yes.
Right? Because if you take care of your child and get them seen, if anything's wrong, get the specialist in, I think make some noise.
Yes.
Don't take no for an answer.
Don't be nasty about it. Be objective, calm and objective. Look, this is what I need for my son. This is what happens. How do we get around this? Okay, you're telling me you can't do this. So who do I need to speak to get that situation resolved? Don't take no for an answer. Don't get angry with anybody. You have an object. You've got to reach that potential, and you've got to work at it whichever way, but you've got to do it.
And one thing I'd like to make clear is that we're not here bashing any teachers out there, any social workers.
No.
The fact
Definitely
is
not.
they've got a difficult job to do.
They haven't
There's
got the
not enough.
resources, they haven't got the ability. Certainly they didn't have anything when we were bringing our children up. And we had to work hard at what we wanted, but we didn't blame anybody anyway.
No.
It was the situation.
I think the thing is, any teacher, any social worker, they've got numbers to deal with, haven't they?
Exactly.
So in that one class might be 30 children.
Exactly.
So they can't give that one-to-one attention.
No.
Of course.
So it's easier because they just think that's a problem, right? So they've got the bright kids who are no problem at all. So any child with any learning difficulty or any issues, you know, and it's natural as well that. Did you also find that your son was lacking confidence as well?
Initially, yeah.
So they tend to sort of shy away as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a kind of a pulling away, isn't it?
Yes.
Of the teacher concentrating on the easier kids, and then, you know, your own child kind of shying away a little bit.
But it's not so much a teacher doing the more easier kids, it's the fact that, you know, they've got a very hard job to do. is everything about numbers. I don't blame any of the teachers or anything like that, because they've got a hard enough job. And I was a governor at one of my boys' schools, and if it was 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, they had to be teaching this, whether any of the children were in that situation or they could cope with it or not. So, you know, it's not the teacher's fault, it's the whole
curriculum,
system that needs looking at.
Well, the thing is this, right? So once you point things out, like you said, it can be difficult.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, those are generalists, aren't they, that you first speak to?
Exactly.
Right? So they're not trained to pick up autism and all the other issues that can be. So they tend to think, let's just kind of brush it away a little bit. So once it was discovered, once he was diagnosed, how are the teachers and how are the schools and the system then?
I went to a speech and language unit anyway, which was sort of half with the other kids and half in a special unit.
Okay.
So certain lessons he'd do in the unit and certain lessons he'd do with the...
How do you feel about that?
He just got on with it, you know. I think with Omar, my son, he's the sort of person, he just gets on with it. If that's what he's got to do, that's what he's got to do. That's where he's going, and that's the way he was.
His mindset is like that. If I've got a task, I'm going to do that task.
Yeah, but some children can be a little bit, they get aggressive because they've just got so much going on in their mind, and that can be difficult, and I think that's why you have problem children, but they're not problem children.
No.
They need help. And that's all it is.
The system and they are not working together, are they?
No,
you know, it's like putting the wrong key in the lock, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's not going to
square peg in a round hole, and it just doesn't work, you know.
So what I was trying to get to is sometimes there's a school of thought that said, you know, everybody should go to an ordinary school and then try and cope in there.
Yeah.
And because if you single people out, then they feel less confident, or I'm not normal, or whatever it is. So you had none of that going on.
No, I didn't allow it, basically. You know, as far as I was concerned, there was nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
He's my son. He's a boy.
Perfect.
He was perfect. You know, he did everything a normal boisterous boy does, anything like that. You know, obviously there was little things I knew, and I had to know how to calm him down or to explain things to him in a certain way. But apart from that, he had a normal childhood.
Did it help or hinder the fact they had two brothers, and did they just treat him normal and you just
they treated him normally, You know, at one point my middle son Ravi, they used to love watching wrestling, and he got a metal chair. I walked in and I thought, oh my God, you know, I screamed out.
We're only playing WWE.
I'm sure those kind of scenes have been reacted in every house.
Every household, you know. So in terms of that, yes, they were treated normally. There's, you know, we didn't differentiate.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have the negativity in the sense, but I don't like negativity in the house anyway. My dad didn't like it, and Umesh's parents didn't like negativity in the house either.
Good.
So, you know, it was all, both of us have been brought up in a similar way, that family is everything, but no negativity. If you're nice to somebody, somebody will be nice to you, you know, and that's all you've got to be, just be nice.
Yeah.
I've always said, do the right thing. Whatever it is, always do the right thing, then you cannot be ashamed of anything you do.
Fantastic.
And that's the way, that's my mum and dad, that's the way they taught us.
Great values, aren't they?
Exactly.
And, you know, and we shouldn't lose them.
No.
So, you know, if kids, you know, if you're sitting in your bedroom all day long, spend some time with your grandparents and your parents, because the value system of the whole of the Indian community is priceless.
Exactly, yeah.
And the knowledge that you will get from talking to your elders,
exactly,
and instilled in within you.
Yeah.
And I think that is the real power behind the success of our younger generations, is the value system that's instilled in them. Hard work, honesty, decency, fairness. Right?
Yeah.
Even in the face of adversity.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, my oldest son was brought up by my mother-in-law, practically. And his values, you know, he'll always be there for anybody and everybody. And because he was brought up by my mother-in-law,
he was taken everywhere, all the, you know, house warmings
visits and everything.
And then when we went into any event or anything like a wedding or wedding, well, not so much wedding, but other parties and things, it was a situation of, oh, this is, well, his nickname is Tic Tac. That's another story, but basically, oh, this is Tic Tac's mum and dad.
It's a real shame it wasn't TikTok and you register it.
we would be millionaires or billionaires.
But you know, the pride I have is people saying, "Oh, you're Ricky's mum and dad."
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't say, "Oh, you're Ricky is you're Ricky's
son.
dad."
Yeah.
Oh, son. It's I have that pride that people recognise him.
Wonderful.
But because of his values from his grandparents.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know,
fantastic.
it's
Fantastic.
wonderful.
So, you both had professional careers, but last year something happened, didn't it? Right? So COVID turned up, and then you decided that, you know, during COVID, when everybody, well, a lot of people were setting up businesses, you know, not everybody sat at home and did nothing. You decided that you wanted to go into business.
Yeah. The story is that I had a really nice job where I was earning good money, I was travelling the country and I was doing what I liked, actually face-to-face, talking to people and actually going there feeling that I've actually helped that person when I've come out and finished talking to them, and I've actually done them a service. That's the way I felt when I came out of everything. But in March last year, it was a situation where the company said, right, COVID's happening, this is happening, we can't go and do face-to-face. So they put us, the furlough system came out through the government, so I was put on furlough. And then as soon as the furlough sort of finished, the company decided they're going to restructure. So it's a situation of they were restructuring and my position wasn't there anymore.
Yes.
So I was made redundant.
A lot of people found that, didn't
Exactly,
they?
exactly. So when that happened, I was stuck my head in the sand for a little bit because I felt bad because I'd lost a really nice job that I liked. But I said, right, we're going to do something. We aren't going to be in a situation where this, that and everything, because I've been made redundant a number of times. So I sort of thought to myself, right, we've always wanted our own business. We had a business in the past, but we wanted our own business, and it was a situation, let's do something. And me and Deepti were looking at properties. We always watch that programme in the morning, you know, the famous one about houses and auctions.
Yeah.
So we all sort of enjoyed watching. I thought, well, why don't we go into doing something like that? So me and Deepti was always into it because I was working and Deepti was on sabbatical. And she was on social media all the time, and we were looking at things, and I thought, well, look, let's have a go at this. No, it wasn't not have a go. We said to ourselves, no, we're going to do this. We're going to create a platform, have a situation where we're not dependent on a company's situation where we get paid or not. We will build a business, we'll have an income coming in, we'll build it so it's passive income as well going forward. Therefore, when we take a step back, we're not losing money.
Yes.
The income is still going to be there. And that's what we're looking to do. And, you know, please come and help me, guys. You know, just come and you know, give me a chance. And that's the way we started.
Yeah.
The point is, it's not working for somebody else. It's having our own business.
Yeah.
And having that time to do what we want to do. You know, and it's not having to clock in and clock out. We work longer hours now.
Yes.
But we're working for ourselves, you know. Any money we make is for us. It's not for nobody else, you know. It's all mine. It's all ours. It's all our pot.
Well, you always say what's yours is mine and mine's yours. Yeah. So don't worry about it.
I'm glad he's learnt it.
So, do your, you know, from knowing you, you know, you come across to me as quite a sort of a frustrated entrepreneur that's finally been let free.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah? How does that feel?
Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, what's happened over the past few months is I've started networking more in a lot of networking groups and doing a lot of Zoom calls, and I'm loving it. I've speaking to so many people which I would never have got a chance to do if I hadn't have done. And because of lockdown, because everything's on Zoom, I'm speaking to people from all over the country, not just in my sort of Leicestershire or, you know, East Midlands area. I'm talking to people from all over the country, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, everywhere, and it's just amazing the number of people I've got to meet and talk to and everything. I'm working with a group of people who are hoping to set up a charity to educate children into money management and entrepreneurship. They want to set up a charity for that. So there's some charitable work that I want to do as well. And it's helping me. I'm building the platform for that. I'm building the, building the bricks for that bit by bit, and it will come about.
Yeah.
But as somebody once says to me, one step at a time, and so we need to get the first bit done, and then we can move on to that side. So, but meeting so many people, and I just love it. It's just, I'm a talker, as you can tell. So, I'm always talking, and the voice. He says, "I'm not going on Zoom calls. I'm going to have a chit chat."
The situation also is that I'm going into that sort of media. I feel that's quite good. My previous position with wills and trusts and estate planning, I'm also looking at that through some people that I know as well, and I'm offering that into incorporated into our business as an addition, something different from the normal person who's looking after your property. So I'll still be doing some of that work that I used to do before, which I loved.
Brilliant.
As well as looking at finding properties for people, getting more for their money, making their money work for them, look at several situations. So it's an idea in where we can do things for you. Okay, we're going to take a cut and we're going to take a fee, but at the end of the day, if it's making more than what you're doing right now, what's wrong in it?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So, a couple of things. So you managed to start realise your dream of being in a property business, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Did it ever put you off in terms of, did you ever thought it was too late? Because, I want to dispel this myth.
I'll just say that to you, Cam. Look, I'm 60 years old this last December. Yeah.
Never.
I know I look 40, but I'm 60 years old. It's how young you feel inside.
Yeah.
You can do anything you want to do. Don't think, right, oh God, I'm hitting the bucket now. I'll leave it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay, your bones might creak a bit more. You might feel a step might be a little slower, but at the end of the day, that's still working. So,
and you've got experience, haven't you? You don't need the speed.
No.
Right? So you utilise other skills, don't you?
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
It's also what you still want to get out of life. Age is just a number. If people are living longer, so they want to do more, they want to achieve more, and they want to see more of the world. So that's still there for us,
We still want to cruise around the world. We still want to go around the world and visit all these different countries and experience these different in countries and the enjoyments, cultures. Yeah,
absolutely.
Still want to do that, and can't. If it was the olden days, or somebody would just slap you down and say, "Look, you're 60 years old. Sit down, behave like a grandpa because that's what you look like."
Well,
but I'm a youngster still.
In his mum and dad's case, they retired. They sold the shop and they retired, and they only got to travel a little bit.
Yeah.
And then illness took over, and his mum couldn't travel anywhere. And then unfortunately, passed away quite early, and. We don't want to do that. We want to live life, and we want to achieve so much more because there is so much more to do in life. Our parents were taught, job, retire, that's it.
And then enjoy what you've saved. But sometimes it's a situation you work and you retire, and you stop, you die. And you don't have that time to enjoy.
But it's a sad fact of our community, isn't it? We work so hard,
and
then a lot of our community are not hanging around for long enough to actually enjoy it.
Exactly.
So you started the property business. So you're going to tell us about it?
Yeah.
What do you guys do?
The company's called Tara Tara. Now the name came about. My mum's name is Tara. Dipti's mum's name is Tara. So we decided. That was on the system, so we decided, right, Tara Tara Limited, which is our company.
Fantastic.
Well, when people are picking names for a company or something, they always look at people who have influenced you, who have made a difference to you, and obviously parents are the first people that you think of, and obviously the dad's names didn't fit in there somehow. So, but then we thought, well, look, both our mums were called Tara, so
that's fantastic.
It is. It's so unusual. People say, really? But yeah, and it's. Tara means star and brightness, and they've always guided us. They're not here, unfortunately, but we still feel their presence with us, and they're always guiding us.
Always guiding us.
It is, and I feel they're helping us along the way.
I was going to say, does that name, you know, massive significance, isn't it? So number one is Tara means star, for those that don't know, so that's lovely.
Yeah.
Right? So guiding light and all this. Do you feel that when you, after having named the company, that they're still with you?
Well, today's case in point. Last night I did give myself a good talking to. I'd had a couple of not good days, and I said, right, tomorrow, you know, kicked myself at the backside and said, you know, you're going to have a better day tomorrow, you're going to do something really productive. And lo and behold, who rings me this morning but Mr. Kam Johal and says, you know, do you want to appear on the TV show? And, you know, I didn't expect anything so mammoth, but, you know, but that's, you know,
and look at this, right? And the strange thing about that is probably about the same time as you thought.
Yeah.
Because I had a completely different show planned today. I wasn't going to have a guest. And so you know what I was going to talk about. We'll do it another day. Right? And then last night, because I thought you were in Birmingham today, because of that other thing that we're doing, and I thought, wouldn't it be nice to invite these guys on?
Thank you very much.
And hence, I actually sat here this morning just before the breakfast show when I was on the phone to you. But I thought about that last night, which may have been about the same time as you put it out there.
Could be. I'm a great believer in law of attraction. People may think it woo-woo. I don't care. It works for me.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, Indian TV, right?
Yeah.
We're on Indian TV.
Yes.
Right? So, a lot of people, especially when I started the Kam Johal Show back in, I think it was May, June time, when I was starting to talk to people, I mean, I had a lot of support.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I had a lot of skepticism.
Yeah.
Right? So, but today, you know, there's even during lockdown, so many people ring me up and messages and my parents and all that kind of stuff. So, what's the reaction been like on social media? Because you posted this morning, didn't you?
I did. As soon as I got off the phone to you, I'd literally come out the shower. I didn't even dry my hair. I came straight down and I was on the laptop and putting this post together. Yeah. And in the morning, it was just unbelievable. I just could not believe how many people viewed it, you know. And I put a post out, sometimes I get 50, if I'm lucky, 100 views and a few likes and a few comments, which doesn't bother me. I do things because it's the right thing for me to do, you know. But I've just been so overwhelmed by the support today, people wishing me good luck, and I've had so many messages and everything saying, you know...
Thousands, absolutely
thousands. I've not been able to keep up. I think I'll need a PA for it.
The point I'm trying to make is stop underselling ourselves.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right, we're a community, 2, 3, 4 million people, whatever it is, right? We're here, and these platforms matter. You know, we had a phone call from the president of the Gurdwara this morning, Ajmer Singh Basra, dear uncle of mine, who said, you know, we want educated people to come forward. So if you're watching this, you want to get on these type of shows, contact me, contact the station. You know, if you're good enough, we'll make it happen. And this is happening now all the time. So, as I said, you know, you guys were in my mind, and look at the reaction. It's just blown. Your social media has blown up, hasn't it?
It has, absolutely.
In one day.
It's like a mushroom.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I feel quite humbled. You've had some absolutely wonderful guests on. I do feel humbled that you've allowed us to and invited us to be on this platform.
Well, you're wonderful. That's why I invited you.
I know that. You know.
Look, the thing is this, you know, the one thing I love is every guest, every show just has that different twist to it. Everybody's got the same story, but everybody's so different. It's unique. The other thing is that, you know, we all resonate with different people.
Yes.
Okay, so we've been asked many, many times, because, you know, most of our audience is a Sikh Punjabi community. So, you know, why don't you do this show in Punjabi?
Yeah.
Okay, and so we've had those discussions many, many times, because at the end of the day, you know, we want to listen to the audience.
Yeah.
But I kind of stuck to my guns, because I knew what would happen is we'd cross over.
Yeah.
So Punjabi isn't your first language, is it?
No, it's not, no.
Right, so you guys speak Gujarati.
Yes.
And I've got many Gujarati friends, got many English-speaking friends, and of course our younger generation.
Yes.
They all speak English?
Yeah, they all speak English. So if there's a Punjabi show, there were lots of people. I mean, Atul Lakhani, Sanjay Foods, my first guest, big supporter of our show.
Yes.
You know, I couldn't have had him on.
No.
No.
You know, I couldn't have had you guys on.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's a good platform for people to learn about other cultures as well.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what it's all about, educating. The world is such a beautiful place. There's so many beautiful people out there, and you shouldn't be limited. Our communities are wonderful, and I love them, and I love being part of them. But if you've ever been down the Golden Mile at Diwali, there's so many people out there. It's not just Indians, it's everybody.
It's not just Hindus, it's
so
everybody.
Wonderful.
It unites Leicester, doesn't
It does,
it?
absolutely.
Diwali absolutely unites
It's
Leicester
so
down Melbourne
beautiful.
Road.
You walk down that road and you see so many people coming there.
Different
It's
walks of life,
beautiful, and
all
that's what I
sorts.
love, because you're learning. And we celebrate Christmas, yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, we have it like we have a proper traditional Christmas dinner and everything, but because we've learnt the culture, and you know, I learn about the Jewish side, I learn about Sikhism, I learn about Muslims, I learn about everything, because you have to be aware of everything. You know, not just to be politically correct, but just to be a good person.
You're interested, aren't you?
I am.
In your fellow man.
Yeah, and I love people.
So those of you that are in the West Midlands, you know, next Diwali, hopefully it won't be an isolated one. Come down, because it's the biggest celebrations outside of India.
It is.
It is.
Right? Come down, and as long as it's a dry night, it's the most fabulous atmosphere, because the roads are all closed.
Yes.
So, you know, and
even on a wet night, it doesn't stop the people.
But it dampens things.
It does very much so.
But there's fireworks, there's everything. There's a Ferris wheel and all sorts of stuff.
Real carnival atmosphere,
atmosphere and everything.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
So, listen, you know, we're coming to the end of another show.
Is it that time? You were right. It's just gone, isn't it?
So what I wanted to say was, you know, in closing, is that, you know, one of the things that you offer is a property management service.
That's right.
Where you guarantee people's rents.
We do.
So if you're a landlord in Leicester, come and see these guys. They're a start-up. You know, they've just started business, and we need to support these type of businesses, because the one thing that COVID's brought home to us is how important it is. So that multi-millionaire company, you know, doesn't need your money. Local businesses do. And this is what local business looks like. People like these guys who are just trying to do something for themselves. So it's our job to support local and small business, right?
Correct,
businesses.
definitely. You're not a number with us, you'll be a person, and we'll give you service that's deserving of what you want.
There you go.
And that's it's
you said that
service.
on national TV now.
I have. Yeah. At the end of the day, that's with even my previous jobs, I've always given service to my clients. And that's the main thing. If you treat people properly and give them the service that they need, give that personal touch. Just give somebody that personal touch, work with them, and say, we'll do what we say we do. And that's it. That's what all we want you to do. Sometimes when you look at big companies, you are a number, and sometimes if you want certain things doing, they don't work, they don't do, or you get fobbed off. With us, if we say we're going to do something, we'll do it.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Fantastic. Couldn't get better than that, could you?
That's it.
So time, unfortunately, waits for no man. So we've had a fabulous show. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got anything in terms of feedback, it's always welcome to me, to the station. We're always looking at new ideas of how to do these shows. We've got some new shows coming along. So, and please keep watching. And we love having your views when you phone into the station, when you give us your feedback, as long as it's constructive. Okay, so we can't unfortunately do everything that everybody wants, but we try our best. So the station's here to serve you and for you to participate. So it's a community station, and we try our absolute best to bring you the shows that you are asking for. Obviously, you know, we bring a lot of news about India, but at the same time there's a big outpouring from people saying they want more news about this country and what our lives are like here. So we're trying to have a balance in terms of the programming that comes, but we can't really do that without feedback from you guys. So tell us what it is that you want, what type of programs, and your voice really matters. And the people's voice really matters. So if you're aware of what's going on outside of this particular country, so we had 12 league clubs trying to form an elite league in Europe. That was all scuppered by people, fans outpouring and absolutely saying, we don't want this. And overnight, those clubs realised that they didn't have the support of people, and all those plans were crushed and washed away. So we do have power. Don't think that you're powerless to act. As long as there's enough of us and we have opinions that other people will go forward with, that's what changes lives. And that's what we really want to do. So I will see you next week on another episode of the Kam Johal Show. Until then, I wish you all the best. Have an amazing week. And until next week, thank you and goodbye.